Greetings, everyone, all of my families and friends, all the just law enforcement agencies, all the just and unbiased news medias and newspapers. I am making this YouTube video May the 13th, 2016, which is Friday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time or Charleston, Missouri time. I'm making this YouTube video today to just let everybody that watches my YouTube videos to share it with everyone that you can, because I, without a doubt, a contradiction, feel that the Charleston Police Department, with the exception of one or two police officers in the city of Charleston, has plotted to intimidate me and my household by having drug addicts and their informants to threaten us or to intentionally try to start confrontations with us. I'm going to tell you a few. Everybody that I had a confrontation with since I've been down here for the 20 years have belonged to one of those 5 churches that's a part of the so-called Unified Coalition Against Violence in Charleston, Missouri. Most, if not all of them, was marching in that march that I videoed when they said it was Stop the Violence. On August the 13th, 2014, a tree in the back of my house was set on fire, and I called the fire department. The fire department, the police officers, and everybody else, children and family services, is not a stranger to where I live at. The fire truck passed my house once, went all the way around the block, came back again. They had an officer, which the police officers and the firefighters are one unit, all in one. They put out the fire in the tree, and I asked for a fire marshal to come to see what caused the fire. This was 24 hours later. I was told by the police that the scene has been contaminated. The only way the scene was contaminated, the person who set the fire and the police officer who put it out. No investigation. That was August the 13th, 2014, almost 2 years ago. On, January the 17th, 2015, I was threatened by an individual who parked outside of my house and said that he would kill me, he would shoot my car, and he didn't give a D about my 2 young daughters. I filed a police report. The officer who wrote the police report did his job. I filed it on the 20th, gave it 3 days to think about it. The officer did his job. The officer told me to go down to trying to get a protection order. I went the next day to try to get a protection order on the 21st. And the clerk took my application for a protection order against this guy that threatened me. Not to mention, I'm 5'8", 158 or 60 pounds. This guy was every bit about 260 or more and 6'1". A guy that was already out on a violation of a protection order, having a habit of jumping on women. But he happened to belong to one of these 5 churches, which all of them is connected with the Suzanne Wesley Family Learning Center. They family members are board members at the Suzanne Wesley Family Learning Center. And it took the chief of police almost 30 days before he signed the complaint for it to go to the state's attorney's office. The state's attorney's office took all the way to February. The judge wouldn't give me a protection order. He told me to wait until we go to court 30 days later and hear both sides of the story. But let's go on. Just recently, April the 15th, 2016, just this year, my next door neighbor who haven't been living here a year, everywhere him and his family go, there's trouble. He got to threatening me. He scared my daughters, my two young daughters, where they went in the house to go get baseball bats and golf clubs. Because this neighbor of mine that threatened me, his family was out there. Some of the other members are his friends that works for Suzanne Wesley Family Learning Center in Leicester, which most of them are drug dealers, drug addicts, or people that start chaos out in the streets. The same which some of the ones was from Sherry Maxwell and the Lincoln University. Same type of individuals that work for her. But as my daughters and them got the video on them, I called the police, and the police stopped at his house. But what I want to show you is, if you look at the videos, it's two of them. It's Charleston, Missouri activists. I will stand my ground, part 1 and part 2. You'll see the police had to tell him a couple of times to stop, but the police on the other side of the property didn't tell him nothing. But my bottom line is, I filed this report on the 18th. Well, went to file it on the 18th, but they arrested me, said I had a warrant out for me. I went back to file it on the 25th. The bottom line is, the city attorney said that I am not a credible witness. And a person can threaten me long as they're not threaten me to do something to me today. And he said I didn't have any credible witness, as if my two daughters not credible witnesses. But the individual that threatened me has been an informant for these people for the past 30 years. Just last year, the same individual that threatened me that I videoed, he stabbed a guy last year. The guy he stabbed went to jail. Just this year in February at the middle school, the Charleston R1 school district, this same individual, neighbor of mine, got in a confrontation with another guy in the school while they was playing basketball in the middle school here in Charleston, Missouri. The older guys playing the younger guys, and this same neighbor pulled out a knife. But guess what? He didn't go to jail. You know why he didn't go to jail? This one sergeant, Percy Orn, the only black that's on the Charleston, Missouri Police Department, he was there. He was there when I went to file a complaint on April the 18th to tell me I had a warrant. He was there each time I was served with a protection order. He was there May the 19th, about a little bit after midnight, 2008, coming in my house, taking my two children, giving them to their drug addict mother. Me and my children, we feel threatened in this town. If something happened, I want you to look at the chief of police, Bobby Hearns. I want you to look at the sergeant here, Percy Owens. I want you to look at Officer Mike Coleman, and just about all the other police on the police force, but except one or two. And my daughters and friends know who those are the ones that we know that's not trying to attack us. I believe on August the 29th, 2015, when my house was shot in 5 times, I think these same people that I just named, also Lester Gillespie, and those who work for him at the Suzanne Wesley Family Learning Center, and Sherry Maxwell and those who work with her at the Lincoln University Sites and Extension, I believe all of them had something to do with this. Even my neighbor, his family works in the police department as dispatchers. So he gets away with everything. I can't even file a police report. I'm not credible. So if I see a police or somebody get killed out in the streets, there's no sense in them coming asking me anything. I'm not credible. But if something happened to me, Send it to the United States Department of Justice. They have my complaint with all these people here. Still today, the police report that they supposed to wrote on my neighbor on April the 15th. The chief haven't had time to look at it. I called him today, and he told me he been busy with a lawsuit and Bible study. Bible study has nothing to do with doing your job. I just want to let y'all know, if something happened to me, the city of Charleston, and those people that I've been naming in my complaints, and those that most of 9 out of 10 of those that was marching, 90% of those that was marching in that march, that so-called Stop the Violent March, they are part of all of it. It's all blood money. Any church is taking money from Suzanne Wesley Family Learning Center in Les Gillespie and Sherry Maxwell in the Lincoln University. Blood is on your hands. Peace be still.